Hello and happy Tuesday. Thought I'd come to you. I had a little bit of baby free time to do a video on imposter syndrome. This primarily, I don't want to say 100%, but primarily is imposter syndrome is something that women experience far more than men. There's this great book, I'm totally blanking on the title, but if you really want to know, reach out to me and I will get it for you, on successful women, and specifically like in corporate America, and how they experience imposter syndrome, like all of them. And they asked, like, all these studies were done and they asked the same questions of men, and men were like, what? No, like, I'm good at my job, I show up and I do my job. Whereas women on the whole feel like, I'm gonna be found out, they're gonna know that I really have minimal knowledge about this. Like, they hired me for this job. Do they know what, like, should I have been hired for this job? I'm gonna be found out. I'm gonna be fired. And this goes for work. This goes for being a mother. This goes for being in a relationship, and so on and so forth. And for me, I've been able to tie it back to like the childhood wound of not enoughness. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you were told you weren't enough as a child by your primary caregivers, but maybe you were shown you weren't enough by primary caregivers. And what you did wasn't, and this could tie back to like as early as like making pictures and art and those kind of things. Somebody saying the wrong thing, like, oh, you should use this color instead, or that doesn't really look like a tree. I mean, it's silly where these things come from. Not silly, because I want you to own them and realize, like, as a kid, that was super wounding. But it's amazing how it kind of sets us up for the rest of our careers, lives, to be so worried that we're not enough, that we're not doing our jobs good enough, that we're not parenting well enough, that we're not good enough partners, and so on and so forth. And yes, we can always be better in all of those areas. But I find that this imposter syndrome, this concern that people are going to find out that we're really not good or good enough, keeps us from doing things. It keeps us from starting businesses. It keeps us from getting out of relationships. It keeps us from getting out of safe relationships in order to pursue great relationships. And it's really sad. I feel like this childhood wound of not enoughness really holds us back from life. It holds us back from living our best life, and really keeps us in this space of like, I'm a fraud and I'm gonna be found out. I think in every single one of my jobs I've experienced like this feeling of like, they're gonna find out that I'm not really good at this, or I'm not really good at that, and they're gonna fire me over it. Has that ever happened? No, but yet that's the story I continue to tell myself. So that's my view on imposter syndrome. What we can do to get over or get through imposter syndrome, I think, is really going back, really taking time to sit down and think about yourself as a child, and really think about, when did I start feeling this shameful feeling around things that I was doing? When did I really start worrying about being found out? Like, when did I start feeling guilty? When did I start feeling like I couldn't put myself out there, that I had to stay with safe jobs, that I had to stay with safe partners, that I couldn't go for dreams, that I couldn't, take a leap and figure it out on the way down? Where did that start for me? And really going back to you, the little person you. So this is some inner childhood work. And if it's 3-year-old little Sally who realized at that point, like, they were told as they were jumping on the trampolines that their flips really weren't that cool by older kids in the neighborhood, and going back and telling little Sally what she needed to hear in that moment, that you're doing the best that you can, that this is an awesome trick for a 3-year-old. As you grow and you learn, you're gonna, figure out how to do bigger tricks, and you'll get there and you'll continue to grow and you'll continue to learn, and it's okay to not know how to do things like the more grown-up kids know. So just like telling your little you all the things that you needed to hear at that moment. And I think that you will find a lot of growth, and healing can come from that. And continue to kind of work through those things through the different ages, because I'm sure it wasn't just in that aspect of your life, but maybe like an art class, a teacher or a peer said to you, you know, that's a terrible drawing. Like, who makes you think that you can be an artist? Things like that. So really go through all these phases of your life where you were told you weren't enough, that you were told that the thing that you were passionate about and loved wasn't good enough, and just continue to kind of work through and grow through those things until you get to your present you. And it's like, okay, what are the things that are really holding me back from living my best life now? And telling yourself the things that you need to hear right now as you, in order to step into those things. So I hope this encourages you. I hope this is beneficial, and that it empowers you to just step into your power and step into giving yourself permission. You don't need anybody else's permission to live your best life.